Hey, it's Theresa, Master EFT practitioner and life coach, and today I want to talk about how to become genuinely more positive in your life, even if you are bitter, impatient, and sarcastic. Um, you know, I consider myself a sarcastic person, and I've definitely found bitterness in my life over the years, and totally impatient. But I've also learned and worked on becoming genuinely positive. I don't ever want to come across as like sugar-coated, saccharine sweet, and ingenuine in any area of my life. And it's really important for me to honor my true feelings and not be fake, you know? Nobody wants to paint a picture like things were okay if things aren't okay. And I never recommend that. One of the biggest things that I have gained positively out of learning to tap, learning to do the emotional freedom technique and applying it to my life is the ability to become and make room for being more positive in my life. So a lot of times, especially when people come to me for private sessions, they feel like they need to paint me this nice picture of how their life is, or not focus on the negative. And one of the first things I'll tell people in an EFT session is, yes, you know me as being very positive. It's not something that came natural to me. And this practice of EFT is intended to focus on the negative in order to make room for the positive to grow. And that's a huge thing to understand because we've been trained, I don't know, it's been kind of ingrained in so many of us. Just think positive, just speak positively, just use, positive language and everything will be fine. And, just you'll become more positive because you're acting more positive. But there's nothing to back that up. Sure, when you put a smile on your face, it does help to increase, positivity, and your body feels more positive, and it can lead to more positive feelings. But if something is really holding you back and making you feel negative, putting a smile on your face is not going to overcome that. So with EFT, you're able to actually root out those negative feelings, literally tap them out through working those meridian endpoints and focusing on that negative emotion. So let's say that you're feeling really crappy because of something, that happened, past, present, something that you're worried about in the future, whatever it is. By concentrating on that thing while you are tapping on your own or tapping with me in a session or what have you, then you're actually able to collapse and dissolve that negative emotion and the effect that it's having on your energy system that's making you feel crappy. And when you do that, you have more room in your energy system for positivity. So then when you're trying to, smile, or you're trying to think positively, or you genuinely are, it feels more natural. There's space in your life for it and a place for it. And that has been one of the biggest ways that I've been able to help people shift that categorize themselves as just these kind of negative Nancy sort of people that are just always finding the crappy side of things instead of the good side of things. There's just no room because of all the negative things, all these weeds, so to speak, that are just growing in their garden of energy that need to be plucked out. And, I use the analogy of, you can cut the grass, cut the weeds, chop it off at the ground level, and it's gonna look okay for a little bit. And that's kind of what happens when we just put a smile on, or we're I'm just gonna look at the good side of things. I'm gonna ignore the negative and focus on the positive. That's like a good cutting down of the weeds. You've gone through there, you chopped it over, you've run it over with the mower, what have you. Things are okay, they're looking kind of okay for a bit, but it's totally superficial because the roots where those weeds grow and repropagate from are still there. So as soon as there's a rainstorm, as soon as some crap happens in your life that reinvigorates that negativity, guess what you have again? You have a garden full of weeds all over again. But if you can collapse that, if you can remove that, if you can eliminate that, then all of a sudden there's not a weed growing there and you have room to plant a flower or whatever it is that you want to do with that space, whatever feels good with that freshly cleared space, you have the ability to do. And that is how you create more genuine positivity in your life. So I recommend giving tapping a try. It's a game changer. And it wasn't until I tapped on a whole bunch of different negative things in my life that I realized the difference that I was seeing. Because there's a lot of things you can tap on and feel immediately. And then there's a lot of things, some of which you do feel immediately also, but you also see their results show up in your life over time. So when you get into the practice of tapping on a daily basis, and then you're up against situations where you know what your reaction would have been, and all of a sudden it's different. It feels different. It's more peaceful, it's more rational, it's more logical, it's more in alignment with how you want to be, how you want to react, how you want to feel. That's when you see it showing up in your day-to-day life, and it is so cool.